Welcome, everyone. I'm Madeline Di Nonno. I have the privilege of serving as the CEO for the Institute, and with me is our wonderful ASL interpreter, Joe Rivera. Welcome, Joe. And joining me today are the writer-director, Malgorzata Szumoswska, who is the writer and director of Never Gonna Snow Again. Also with me is Weronika Rosati, actor who plays Wiki, the mother of Zhenia, and also Maja Ostaszewska, who also plays Maria. So we hope all of you enjoyed the film, and we're going to spend a little time talking about this wonderful film. And Malgorzata, I'm going to ask you a question first. So many of you should know, and especially if you're an Academy member, you should know that this film is the official Polish Oscar selection. Congratulations, bravo to you. And this is also your 17th film. And so can you talk about what inspired you? I know you've mentioned that the film is about a need for spirituality, but can you talk about the film, how you conceived of the idea, what made you think of these wonderful, characters? If you could just fill in for
Yeah,
our audience.
sure. So as you said, I'm kind of pretty experienced filmmaker, but actually first time I have this privilege to represent the country in the Oscar race. So this is really a privilege, and I'm very proud. And Polish people, they are really enjoying Oscars. So many people keeps fingers crossed for us. And of course, it's much bigger attention dedicated to the film due to the fact that we are an Oscar Polish entry, right? So it's kind of amazing. How it started, it started very kind of simple way, because me and my co-director and cinematographer and co-writer Michał, who actually cannot be with us today because he's working, we just know the guy. His name is Wojtek, and he's a masseuse. He's the guy who's coming from one apartment to another with his big bed. Even he's very small, tiny guy, and he hears the secret of us, of our friends, of the society. So we came up with this idea that it's a very good character for the film, because he's a little bit like the therapist, a little bit like someone who's listening to the confession. He's here and there, and he knows the secrets of the people who houses he's entering. So we take this character, then we take something quite new in Poland, which is upper middle class. You cannot forget that capitalist Polish democracy is only 30 years old. Before, we were under communistic regime. So now people are still hungry of capitalism. So capitalism in Poland, it's still kind of a force. It's very pushy. It's a really a power, So people want to make money. People want to be wealthy. People want to live in the gated communities, because they say, "I work so hard. I'm wealthy. I deserve it, and I don't want to participate, to let other people participate in my privileged life." So this is not very good attitude, but that's how it looks. So we just can combine these two things: the guy with his bed, stealing the secrets of the families, and the very wealthy Polish families who are kind of having, I must say, and kind of empty life in the spiritual way, because there is no religion anymore. People, they are not going to the church. People are not connected with any ritual, something, maybe only through, like, I don't know, therapist, yoga, but nothing very concrete. So there is a lack of real deep emotion. There is a fear that our life is going into the vein, that there is a kind of threat, and people are feel anxiety, high anxiety. So that's why we want to tell a story about that. And then this guy is coming and he's giving them, he feel this space. He's giving them something which is metaphysical in their opinion, spiritual. He's giving them access to another, I would say, dimension they are missing. So that's kind of idea. You know, I think it's interesting because the film it's original and exceptional in a way that it's not typical story, right? It's not typical story. It has many layers, and also I think it's not straightforward. It's not very straightforward film. But what is really surprising to me is the fact that the Americans who are watching the film now on the Academy web for the Oscars, we have very nice response to the film. They really understand what we are talking about. So I think it's a kind of it is a simple story because people are getting the story and the story stays with them. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I thought the film was very relatable. And the essence of, money can't always buy you happiness is, a very big thread. And I think, very, very relatable to us in the US. I want to turn to Veronika first because, you have a very accomplished career working in film and television, period pieces, all kinds of characters. And here,
Thank
you're
you.
playing kind of two characters. And it's somewhat haunting, the relationship between Zhenia, and his mother, and then the character you play. So I'd love to know about your journey to this project, what attracted you to it, and then what was it like for you playing these two aspects of these roles.
Thank you for the nice words. Well, what attracted me was basically Malgorzata and Michał. So I haven't read the script. When they met with me for the role, I was just very excited. I said yes without even knowing the script because I always wanted to work with them. So that's really what drew me to the project. But it's very interesting that for the first time in my career, I made a movie where I played two roles. I thought the idea of the mother, I mean, the girl he falls in love with reminds him of the mother he lost. It's very Freudian and it's very interesting. And I just would like to say that the scenes that we shot as the mother, and my face is very unclear in those scenes, but I don't know if the viewers saw some, because they were inspired by some movies and by some paintings too. And I thought it was just beautiful to do that. It's been a great journey for me. I, like you said, I've done several different kind of films and different kind of TV shows. And this came at a very good moment in my career because I was just doing mostly TV shows, and after having a baby, and this was a very serious role that I could actually really give certain emotions and certain experience that I've had in the few years before that in my life, and I could just basically pour them into my role in a way. So it's been a great journey for me.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
happy.
I just wanted to go back to Malgorzata for a minute. So were you inspired? Because Veronika mentioned this, Christina's World, the famous painting by Andrew Wyeth, was the first thing I thought of when I saw that first image of Zhenia's mother. Were you informed by that, or was it just a coincidence?
I must say it's a coincidence. It's a coincidence, but it's an amazing coincidence, kind of, because for us, we have also inspiration from, it was a frame from the very famous Russian director who, of course, died many years ago, Andrei Tarkovsky. I mean, we were like inspired by his pictures from his movies, but it's amazing. I think it's an amazing coincidence.
Thank you. Maja, you are also an accomplished actor, and your character has so much depth and nuances, and also kind of very haunting. Can you talk about what attracted you to the role of Maria?
Mhm. Maybe at first I told you that it's really amazing that you told about Wyatt, because I also love this painter, and especially the picture with the woman. When you look at the first moment, you think it's a young girl, and you can recognize it's an old woman. So it's really fantastic that you thought about that painter. Looking at our film. In my case, I worked with Malgorzata and Michał so many times. It's our fourth movie. Most important before the Never Gonna Snow Again was Body. We showed it on Berlinale. So we know each other really, really good. We are the friends at the same time, and they know all my parts also in the theater. So when they worked on the script, for them it was sure that it would be good having me in this project as Maria. So I knew it's really on the beginning of their work. So it's really funny also that they very often the parts they want me in, they are a little bit crazy woman, and it's the same in that project. And Maria, it was really fantastic to play such a special character, in the same time funny, touching, but awful as well. And she's full of prejudice against people from different countries, full of fear. She's all the times in competition with other women. So she's really not nice person. Sometimes when you hear her, it's a little bit like racism, but in the same time, she's full of fear. She feels she's not enough all the time as a mother, as a woman. So she's it's really really sad character. And it was really interesting to try to understood her, because I think it's a case of so many women now, in maybe special in the middle class, when they feel they have to be someone, and they it's really important to have children in a good school, to live in rich area, and it's really really often case. And it was really interesting to understood this kind of person, and not to show her only as an awful person, as a funny person, but also as a very sad and only one.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to you, Malgorzata, because you chose specific types of story arcs for each one of the families that you are portraying. And of course, the film is goes very deep in terms of portrayal of the female characters, and they are fully developed. So I think that it's very rich. But you have this sense of betrayal. You have strained relationships between a husband and wife. You have what, building on what Maja was saying about women who feel like they have to be it all, do it all. You have you bring up Chernobyl. The husband has cancer. I mean, there's major emotional issues
Yeah.
you decided to plot with these families. And so Were any of these stories pulled from your real life? How did you decide the different, vignettes in terms of how you were going to build this into each of the story arcs, for the characters? And it's really like a dance. I mean, in terms of how you orchestrated all of these very serious themes, even though, of course, there is comedy.
I'm a very good dancer. So it's something here. So I must say, I've been constructing this around the real people, as you can feel exactly, So of course it was like this, like my children, they growing up partly in private schools, right? Private language schools. So through them I met that kind of people who are portrayed in our movies. So I start to observing them, their behavings, their relation with the children, their relation with the world, their relation with the school, with everything, right? And I was like more and more obsessed about picture that society because I found them as full of anxieties. I'm not saying that I don't have anxieties. I also have anxieties. But I was just so also I'm part of the society, kind of. Of course, being an artist, it threw me out in a different model, right? But still, I am part of the society with my own crazy behavings. So also I use some my small things on some. I don't want to confess to
I was going
her.
to say, want to share what those are?
I cannot because then you're gonna blame me. I cannot do it. But yes, some relation with the kids, some strange things. Like for example, I have a daughter who is very, how to say it, not nice. I love her, but she's like, a
She's
little.
spirited. She has a good spirit.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has a
She's
very good.
powerful like Malgorzata.
She's powerful. So sometimes I don't know how to manage, with her, like probably many mothers. So yes, so I observe another person who has problem with alcohol. I observe a woman who was betrayed by the husband and she was preferring not to see that fact, and etc., etc. Of course, most of the time I'm observing women because I have a huge interest in female characters, especially nowadays. I used to do films very often about men, and now I'm like losing interest. Now I'm much more interested in female characters. I found them more interesting, stronger, and kind of much more complicated, in a good way. So that's why I focus more on the female characters in our movie. And for example, the sadness which Vicky has in her, I love it because, she has like a beauty and sadness and something very fragile. Maja, who is lost in her anxieties, I think exactly. She's dreaming probably about calm, about a good relation with husband, but it doesn't exist anymore. She's fed up with the kids it makes you tired to being a mother. We know all this, right? As a woman, we want to be the best mothers in the world, and sometimes it doesn't work, and it's not easy to be a mom, right? So definitely many characters in the movie are taken partly from me, partly from some other mothers, partly from the actress we see here, from Maja, from Weronika. And observation, it's a huge part to me of doing films, how I'm observing the world around me and people around me without judging, of course.
So Veronica, just building on what Malgorzata said about the character, um, were there any similarities in terms of situations or people that you encountered in your life that you brought into um, your character?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I just wanted to say something before, just to about what Malgorzata said. You know, it's amazing. We did this movie literally a month or 2 months before the pandemic and before the lockdown. And this movie has, I don't know, for some reason, it feels like it would be done even during the pandemic or the lockdown, because it really describes the loneliness of people, and how they're in a way stuck in their own homes and just in their golden cages. But answering your question, yes, I've actually, like I said, it was a perfect time for this role for me. I've had some difficult, not to say traumatic experiences just before the filming. And so I really understood her sadness. I just felt that sadness, and the kind of situation where she's stuck in a little bit in a life situation where she doesn't really know how to get out, and she's waiting for someone to save her. And that's what for my character in a way Zhenia is. And then she's kind of like liberated, not even from the pain, but at least she feels a little bit more liberated. And so I really understood that. I also wanted to talk about what Malgorzata said about, you know, like we all play, well, me and Maja, we play mothers in the film, and we're both mothers. And it was also challenging because sometimes you really don't know how to, not to deal with your kid, but you don't always understand what they want, and you try to be the perfect mother, and the society expects you to be a perfect mother, and you just feel such a failure when you're not. And my child in the film is a little bit weird, and and I kind of also felt like it's a great thing, because she just hides her emotions. She just hides everything she is inside. She doesn't show it to the world, because that's how we're taught right now with Instagram and everything. We have to be all perfect, and we have to be, you know, we have to be in everything. We have to, and especially women are expected to be perfect. So I like very much that Malgorzata just basically showed with a sense of humor, but also with a lot of, I would say, with a lot of warmth. She showed the women, the drama of women that goes behind the doors, but it's not big drama. It's just a very regular lives that don't look as it seems. And I think it just shows also, I mean, it just makes me think of a sentence, it's a quote, that be careful how you approach others, because everybody's fighting their own battle that we don't know about. And I think this movie shows it very well, that behind those closed doors, there are the families, the people are hurting, and we don't know their dramas, but we're so eager and so quick to judge everyone. Depending on everything, depending on race, depending on age, depending on, of course, depending on sex and sexuality and everything else.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So I know we're out of time, but Malgorzata, if I just want to talk a little bit about the distribution plan for this. So once again, we're thrilled, and congratulations for this film being the official Polish Oscar selection. But for our audiences who will hopefully want to see the film, or tell their friends about the film, when will they be able to see it? When will it be available in the United States? And give us something to look forward to.
Sure, it's Lorber. Hopefully, it's gonna realize the film in the US in spring. So, I mean, in few months it should be there. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm very proud that I have a Kino Lorber as a distributor. For now, Academy members can watch Never Gonna Snow Again on Academy website.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to say thank you, Malgorzata. Thank you, Maja. Thank you, Weronika. Thank you,
Thank you.
Joe. Never Gonna
Thank
Snow,
you.
everyone. We'll keep our fingers crossed for you for Oscars. And thank you so much for this beautiful
Thank you.
film.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
To our
Yeah,
audience.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Amazing pleasure.
Thank you
Thank
so much.